What is good, Ambush? And welcome to this week's episode of the Desert Tiger Podcast, here with me, the host of the DTB. I'm the Colton G. And this week on the show, I'm joined by country artist Sacha, as we dive into the details of her new EP, The Best Thing. We're also going to be playing the latest single off of The Best Thing for you here right away. Of course, we're also going to be diving into the details of the song and its amazingly funny, epic music video that goes along with it. What was filming the music video like? Well, Sacha's going to be letting you guys know that today. We're also going to be diving into the growth that Sacha has gone through between this new EP and her 2014 EP. That, of course, being Just Like You. That was released 6 years ago, so definitely a lot of time to grow, not only as an artist, but also as a human being. We're going to be talking about some tours that Sacha did, visiting various high schools, spreading positive messages. What were those messages and why? Why are they dear to Sacha's heart? We're also going to be diving into Sacha's upbringing, growing up in small town Ontario, and how exactly that influenced the path that she is on today. And we're also going to be discussing Sacha's trailblazing path as a Black Canadian country artist. Yes, all of this and much more in today's episode of the DTP. And before we go ahead and play that new single Cheers for you, we just have to go ahead and shout out one of the best ways to support the show. And that is DesertTigerMerch.com. I love DTP.com because it's where you go to snag yourself some sick Desert Tiger merch so that you can rep the show everywhere you go. And best news is, we just added 2 new items for you. A tank top and a new tee are up there right now waiting for you, and they're just $20 each. Yes, DesertTigerMerch.com. And with that being said, I think it's time to celebrate this conversation with Sacha. But before we kick it off, how about a quick cheers?
Cheers, 'cause the night has just begun. If you're looking for some fun, go ahead and grab someone. To the lady leopard dancing up on the bar. She turned 87, started smoking cigars. To
Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hello, is this Sacha?
This is Sacha. This is Colton.
This is Colton with the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Hi, Colton.
Hello, Sacha.
I'm just putting my earbuds in here. Like my AirPods in here, whatever you call them. Okay. How are you?
No worries, no hurries for the AirPods. Otherwise, I'm doing really good. It's a beautiful day here out on the west coast of the country. How are you?
Very well. We've got lovely weather over here as well, so can't complain.
Fantastic, fantastic. Otherwise, you're happy and healthy?
Very. Thank you. Yeah, very healthy, very healthy.
Well, that's really all one can really ask for some days, I guess.
Well, in a day like today, absolutely. Like, health is really important and something that's taken for granted. So yeah, I can't say that I have any complaints.
I am very glad to hear that, and of course we're connecting today to talk about your new EP, The Best Thing.
Yay, yeah.
Woo! All right. Of course, there's a little bit of a journey to get to this point, so I want to dive into a little bit of the points that brought us here, of course, as well, if you're all right with that.
Absolutely.
All right, fantastic. So, I see that you were born in Montreal before moving to small town Ontario, growing up in a very small area in a musical family. So, when exactly does a guitar reach your hands, and was country music always something that you were surrounded by, or was it something that you sort of grew an appreciation for later on?
Well, growing up in a small town, it's kind of your way of living, right? Country music is an experience, and it comes from experience of just, for the most part, the way of life. And for me, that was, growing up in a small town, and it was a rural village. Sleepovers at our friend's house on the farm, and I grew up on a dead-end road, and there was a yellow light and only one light in the middle of town on one main street. So, I was always surrounded by music, all kinds of music, and of course country music and country lifestyle. A guitar hit my hand now when you ask that. There's instruments in my house, so piano was probably one of my primary instruments. We had an old beat-up upright grand piano, missing like the ivory on the key, so it was quite rustic and beat up. But it was, I would say, my primary instrument as a child. And then of course there's drum kits, there's guitars around the house as well.
So you had the opportunity to try out quite a few different things then.
Yes, sure thing.
Okay, so at what point do you start crafting your voice, your very strong vocal abilities?
That was a little later on, I think. I always sang as a child, but discovering your voice is definitely a journey, and I feel like it's only been within the past couple of years that I've developed something vocally and just more of a confidence there as an artist.
All right. So at what point did you make the decision that you wanted to pursue country music as a career? Was this something that you always had in your heart, or was there a specific moment where you decided that you truly wanted to go for this?
I've always wanted to sing music. I've always wanted to be a singer. I've always wanted to be a musician. That's always been a dream of mine. I've had a few detours and a few, I guess, misguided lanes just through this journey. But it wasn't until actually I sat down and wrote a song called Nothing to Lose. This is like years ago, which ended up being on my very first EP, where I just knew it was like the fragments of my formative years coming out in my music and really expressing who I am. And so I got on my guitar, wrote a song, and we're kind of like that folk Americana kind of vibe, but country as well. So that's just what came out of me when I started writing my own songs and sharing my story.
All right, so you mentioned your first EP there, Just Like You. So what was it like to finally put your voice onto something that you could present out to the world, to present Sacha out to the world and open yourself up like that?
Well, so the Just Like You album was actually it was like my school tour edition, I'd say. I had an EP before then, and Just Like You was very old stuff. But that was me, that was like, I think the beginning of the journey of finding my sound and my artistry. So and developing as an artist. But Just Like You was actually a school tour focused album where in 2012 I started a school tour, and I partnered with school tours across Ontario and visiting schools and sharing stories, my personal stories and encouragement through music. And so I wrote an album to support that and to support the messages that I felt was important to the younger generation during this time.
Okay, interesting. So I want to dive into that a little bit further. So what was it like to take that opportunity to go back into schools? Because as students, we've all had those people who come to the schools to give us very crucial talks about developing into adults and how to deal with various situations. So what exactly would you say were the key focuses and ideals that you were trying to get across and shine a light on, I guess I should say?
My focus was geared to identifying your true self and your dreams and embracing your uniqueness. And of course, my story tied in there because just doing, performing the kind of music that I do, it's not always the first thing that would be expected of me when I open my mouth. So, breaking stereotypes and finding your own path and creating your own niche was what was important. And discovering your purpose was another facet of what I would share in school, because your purpose and including your gifts and your talents and your dreams go sort of hand in hand. So I think it's important for young people to have the vision. I think that because when I was young, I didn't really I just thought, okay, when you grow up, you're supposed to have some sort of a 9-to-5 career. But if I had somebody to share with me at a young age, hey, if you have a dream in your heart, or if you have a talent, or if you have something that is near and dear in your heart, that in your wildest imagination, those things can actually become a reality. And to not allow fear or judgment or fear of judgment of others to hinder you exploring your unique potential.
Awesome. I love the message. Of course, like you said, when you open your mouth, some people don't necessarily expect country music to come from it. So as a strong Black female who's blazing her own path, how have you developed yourself not only as a human being, but also as an artist between Just Like You and this new EP, The Best Thing? Because there's 6 years in between these two EPs.
Yeah, I think even 6 years between that one, and then I think altogether, geez, if I go back, let's say 2012 to until today, 2012 is when I wrote songs for my very first EP. So until today, so it's been some time in the making, and I feel like, man, it feels like it's been a long time, and that time was very necessary. Of course, you'd like things to happen a lot sooner, or a lot faster, or on your watch. But looking back, the time in between that EP and The Best Thing was very necessary and crucial to my development as an artist. And just like what you were saying, just trailblazing my own path. I mean, definitely when there's not a path that's been carved out before you, there's a lot of heavy lifting on myself to trailblaze for others, because it's not like there's a path where I ran down. It was like I'm creating my own path, something that has never really been seen or done in Canadian country music.
Warm breeze blowing, cold ones flowing, keeping the good times going. We got the windows rolling, 'cause we got that music up. No matter where we're going, what we'll do, we'll make it up. Hopping off that renegade, let the troubles fall away. To get the good times going, good times, good times. Running down our dreams, we've had it on repeat. Feel the warm breeze, cold one, running on that summer heat. To keep the good times going, good times going. The vibe is so contagious, it moves like wildfire through the crowd. We gotta hide in places where we can go when the sun goes down. Even when the night escapes, let the feeling get away. Good times going, good times. Running down our dreams, we've had it on repeat. Feel the warm breeze, cold one, running on that summer heat. To keep the good times going, good times going. No, there ain't no better place, somewhere you can get away. Good times going, good times. Running down our dreams, we've had it on repeat. Yeah, the warm breeze, cold one, running on that summer heat. To keep the good times going, good times going.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.
So you started crafting the best thing about two and a half years ago. The first single, "Good Times Going," dropped August 8th, 2018. So
Right.
what has it been like building and crafting and preparing this EP for this moment for it to finally be ready for the world?
Well, it's been quite a marathon, that's for sure. I mean, there were times where I was just like, oh man, am I ever gonna get the components together, and am I ever gonna get the components together in time and in the way that I've always dreamed of it to be? And so going, there's been quite a few hoops to jump through, but I'd be thrilled to say that I finally landed like a team of people who I feel so honored to have contributed to this album, and where the writers are concerned, and my producer Dan Swinnermer, and other people, so on and so forth, right down to the music video and my team that helps push the music out. So it's been quite the, I'd say, humbling experience, because it hasn't been all lights and glamour. It's been definitely some serious elbow grease and rolling up the sleeves and digging a foundation for this album, and for me to effectively launch it to the world.
Well, definitely. Having a good team can definitely help with more things, because when you have someone who is very good at key components, it allows you to focus more on some of the other aspects, like the artistry and everything else.
Right.
Awesome. So you mentioned the music video, that of course being for your recent single, Cheers. It's a very fun song, and it's a very fun music video as well. So take us behind the scenes of shooting this very blue collar, let's go out and release and relax ourselves video.
Oh, it was awesome. It was the location was in Hamilton, and Travis Didluck is the director, and Ben Necto was the executive producer on this production, which I was really excited about as well, because he's known for his work with the Rec Laws and James Barker Band and all sorts of credible country artists here in Canada. So I've always wanted to work with him, and I got in touch with Ben, and he established a team with Travis Didluck, who's an incredible director as well, and his team and the cast were a blast to work with. It was probably one of the longest days of my life. It was absolutely freezing cold in the building, but you wouldn't have any clue that we were cold for watching the video. So I think that's so neat, because you see things on film and you wouldn't have any idea that we were sitting in front of heaters every break we got. So it was quite the amazing, surreal experience. It was a lot of fun, and the cast brought a lot of energy. The crew they persevered so greatly through it the whole entire day, and it was just so exciting. Like, when I think back of it, and even when I look at it, I'm like, wow, how did this even happen? Like, I've always dreamed of this, and I'm really happy with how it all turned out. Like, the quality of the production and the treatment and the experience people have when they watch it, and the reception that I'm getting from those who have seen the video. That was an experience, I could say, of a lifetime. So.
Well, I'm very glad that people are also enjoying the video and its message of relaxing and letting loose and having a good time, and not everything has to be about grinding and working.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, it's an opportune song for, like, a time like this, where we've been in the dark for a few months and on lockdown, and not able to live as liberally as we'd like to, where it comes to going out and enjoying everyday life, right? So I think that my hopes with this song was that it would be kind of like a distraction from what may be bringing us down during this whole time of COVID, and how the world is kind of taking a spin. And just a reminder to, there's always something worth celebrating.
Oh, absolutely. Of course. Things can get down, but light always shines through the tiniest of cracks.
That's right.
Fantastic. So, with you mentioning the entire situation worldwide with the pandemic, how have you had to shift the release plans for The Best Thing, with not being able to do like an actual release show with live fans, and being able to do TV appearances and some of those other things?
Yeah, it was interesting, because actually, this project, had it been my way, was already supposed to be out in April. So I've had to delay the process a little bit, just with everything going on with COVID and the whole world shutting down. And it did give me some time. It did allow me to buy some time to think, okay, to get all my ducks in a row and kind of adjust to the world's current situation and what it would look like for me as an artist to launch in a time like this. So I find that, if I could be honest, I'm really happy with the results, and I'm really grateful for just the little successes I'm already having. Even though it's COVID, for me, I don't even. I feel I'm busy. I'm having awesome opportunities to have interviews with yourself and others, and music videos out, and my Instagram and my online is constantly going off. So I actually had to turn off my notifications right now so I can have an uninterrupted call. So I'm finding that it's working pretty well. I can't say I have any complaints, and I find it interesting because I could be talking to somebody on the West Coast, and then I could be from east to west within 20 minutes of each other, doing either phone calls or virtual videos. It's actually pretty great and pretty neat. Mm-hmm. Of course, I'd love to be on a tour. I'd love to be, at a meet and greet table saying hi to fans and friends and family. And I am optimistic we're going to get to that point. But yeah, you make do with what you have.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. And yes, of course, when the opportunity presents itself, we're definitely get out there, make the shots, see all the people that you haven't seen in a while. But even on having to adapt on a short notice, it's done very well, with the album already receiving 65,000 plays on Spotify, charting at 7th on the Apple Country charts. So it's definitely receiving a lot of good feedback.
Yeah, like that stuff, that just blew me away. So, I mean, I was thinking, okay, well, hey, this was the best thing. The best and the right thing. Hence the title of the album.
All right, fantastic. Well, I'm so excited that you had the opportunity and that we still have the opportunities to talk like this. So before I ask my last question today, Sacha, where can the listeners of the podcast find out more about you?
Oh, you can find out more about me on my Instagram, on my website, www.iamsacha.com. You can find me on Facebook, YouTube. If you look up, my artist name is Sacha, but some of my handles, because my name was already taken, is Sacha Visagie, and Sacha is spelled S-A-C-H-A. You can likely Google me, Sacha, S-A-C-H-A, and Visagie is my last name. But so I'm very active on Instagram. I'm very active on Facebook and all my social media.
All right, fantastic. So last question is, somebody who has had to blaze their own trail, be a very positive influence and force within their industry. Say that maybe there's somebody who is listening right now where they too dream of going within a path that maybe culturally or historically didn't exactly line up with what they see within their mind. So what would you say to inspire that person to put their foot forward and begin taking the steps to take that journey?
Well, I would say remember that it's not about you. And I say that because when you take that journey, obviously it has to be fueled by passion for what you're doing and which direction you're going. But when it gets hard, remember that it's not about you, and that there are more people that depend on your perseverance in the thing that you are, in the trail that you're blazing. And it makes room for more people. And, I think that when we take the focus off ourselves, we continue to have that motivation or that drive to keep going. So we definitely remember that, people are counting on you, so it's not about you. It's not just about you.
Awesome. Fantastic. I love the message.
Yeah.
All right, Sacha. thank you so much for taking the time today to not only take us behind the scenes of your new EP, The Best Thing, but also behind your journey as a musician and as an artist.
Thank you so much, Colton, for having me. I really appreciate your time.
Alright, Ambush, you guys know that we played 2 songs for you today. Well, in the middle of the show, we played Good Times Going, and we kicked off today's episode with Sacha's latest single, Cheers, which you should also go and check out the amazing music video for. And while you're at it, you should also go and check out the rest of the Best Thing EP on your favorite music streaming service while you're there. Go ahead and hit follow so that you can keep up to date with everything else that Sacha has coming out in the future. And with that being said, I have to go ahead and give one last roaring DTP thank you to Sacha for joining us here on today's episode. And I have to go ahead and thank Mackenzie over at Strut Entertainment for going and helping with setting the whole thing up. Last but not least, it is you, the faithful Ambush, for tuning in to today's episode. If you're new to the DTP, maybe you want to join up with the Ambush, well, good news, it's free, it's easy. All you do is hit subscribe or follow on your favorite music streaming or your favorite podcast listening service, I guess I should say. And while you're at it, you can also help the show grow by reviewing us. 5 stars would be fantastic. You can also share this episode, tag Desert Tiger, me, the Colton G, or Sacha when you do, so that we can give you some love for listening to awesome music and, well, awesome podcasts. Alright, you guys know how it goes. Next week we are taking another miraculous journey through the desert as we put our paws in the sand with another guest and hear all about the steps that they had to take to find their desert oasis, to find their mountain so that they could climb to the top and sing and let their voice shine out across the canyon. You guys know that that's what I'm going to tell you guys to do. Until next week, get out there, chase and achieve your dreams. I know it's difficult right now in the current climate, in this pandemic, but there's a way. If there's a will, there's a way, and you can start laying the foundation so that one day you can achieve those dreams. And I will see you next week. And until then, bye-bye. Stay beautiful.